This
Okay.
conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so it's now 7:08, and I'm calling the December 2nd meeting to order. This December 2nd, 2020 meeting of the Brooks Free Library Board of Trustees to order. Ginny, can you read the Attorney General's open meeting announcement?
Sure. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Brooks Free Library Board of Trustees is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance by members of the public will be permitted, but every effort has been made to ensure the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. Members of the public who would like to join the meeting live may do so using the link or the phone number provided on the agenda. This meeting is being recorded and will be shown on Channel 18 and available on demand on Channel 18's website and on the Channel 18's YouTube page.
Okay, I'm calling the meeting to order, and I'll be running tonight's meeting. Let's start with a roll call of the other trustees. Linda Sabula.
Present.
William Stoll.
Present.
Joan McCarty.
Present. Forgot they told me to mute.
Kathleen Remillard.
Here.
Bernadette Waystack.
Present.
Jeannie Wheeler.
Present.
Okay, also attending are Ginny Hewitt and Assistant Director Emily Milan. Is our liaison from the Board of Selectmen, Stephen Ford, present? I take that as a no. The minutes of the November 4th meeting were included in your packet. Does anyone wish to make any corrections? Okay, nobody's raised their hand. May I have a motion to approve them?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
In a second? Okay, Bernadette seconded it. We're gonna do a roll call vote. Linda Sabula.
Accept.
William Curl.
Accept.
Joan McCarty.
Accept.
Kathleen Remillard.
Accept.
Bernadette Waystack.
Accept.
Jeannie Wheeler.
Accept.
And I, Joanne, vote to accept the minutes as written. So that's unanimous. Public comment. Do we have anyone who's joined us online or called in that would like to make a comment? I don't. Please identify yourself. No, I don't believe we have anyone. I have no report this evening. Library director. The library director's report was included in your packet. Does anyone have any questions or comments about Ginny's report? Okay, Ginny, do you have any additional information?
No, I don't. No, I don't, Joanne. All the subjects are covered under other agenda items, so I'll save my comments for that.
Okay. Jennifer Pickett, reference librarian, and Emily Carta, staff librarian, also submitted reports. Does anyone have any questions or comments about their reports? I'm seeing everyone shaking their head no. Is there a report from Buildings and Grounds, Jeannie?
The only thing I really have to report is that we had talked last month about Beth Williams coming to work up some plans for around the circulation area. She has submitted those plans. Emily and Ginny, Beth submitted 2 sets of plans. Emily and Ginny picked out the one they liked best. I contacted Beth, as did Emily, and she's hoping to return sometime next week. to do some measurements, and then she'll come up with more detailed plans, and then we can take next steps from there.
Well, that will be very interesting to see. The next report would be from the liaison from the Board of Selectmen, but Steve has not indicated that he's present. Steve? Okay, well, then let's go on. Is there any correspondence? No, no correspondence at this time. Old business. Ginny, you want to give us an update on the library operations? Ginny?
Yep, thank you. Had to unmute. Thank you. Both curbside and inside hours are going very well. There's a lot of information in my written report, so I'm not going to go over all of that again. But I did want to discuss some other issues with you. As you're probably aware, there's been an increase of positive COVID-19 cases in the community, and the numbers are expected to continue to increase in the next few weeks after Thanksgiving. So with Hanukkah, Christmas, and New Year's on the horizon, and all the associated interactions of small groups of people who don't live in the same household, never mind larger gatherings, public health officials are increasingly worried. As I mentioned in my report, one of our staff members recently had to quarantine after being exposed to a positive coworker elsewhere. Unfortunately, they tested negative and are fine, and we didn't have to worry about transmission here, but we dodged a bullet on that one. I asked the town health director to come conduct a site visit during open hours so she could evaluate our operations. She did so on a Thursday afternoon, which has been during our busiest hours. She was very satisfied with how things are going. Patrons were observing all the necessary precautions, spacing themselves out when in line to check out and not crowding each other in the aisles. She noted one area of concern for staff, the area behind the circulation desk and the adjacent work area. We're not over capacity there, but we're close to the limit. This area is the heart of our circulation operation. Staff members have to pass by each other to perform their duties. We've made some changes to reduce the frequency with which they may pass by each other, but most of this is unavoidable, whether we're providing curbside service or allowing inside access for patrons. The library is not a typical office setting, it's an operation. And recently the CDC revised their definition of what is a close contact. They now state it doesn't have to be 15 minutes of continuous exposure within 6 feet of another person. It can be multiple smaller interactions over the course of a day. So that's a concern for us. Right now, if a staff member tests positive, we would have to do what Sturgis Library did and close for 2 weeks. While our workstations are spaced far enough apart, there's just no way to guarantee that other staff members would not have been within 6 feet of each other for less than 15 minutes per day. So we'd have to err on the side of caution and close. To remedy this, one of the things, and to reduce the risk to staff members, because probably the biggest risk of transmission to staff members is other staff members, because we're pretty well protected from patrons, although there's some risk there as well. So we're looking into dividing the staff into cohorts, and those staff members would work on the same days of the week with no crossover between people in the different cohorts. Each staff member's bubble then would be greatly reduced, which lowers their risk. If one staff member tested positive and that cohort had to quarantine, the others could cover those days. So that would mean we would not have to close for 2 weeks. It'd be no interruption of library service to the community. The goal of a cohort system would really be to limit the risk of exposure of staff members by limiting the number of coworkers they come into contact with on a daily basis. So we're still investigating those options, but going to a cohort system seems to be the logical, prudent thing to do. It's considered the best practice. And I also feel, a moral and ethical obligation to do this. It's the right thing to do. Your pandemic statement already gives me the authority to make these kind of changes quickly. So I'm not presenting a plan for your approval. We don't even have a final option. We've just been discussing some. I just wanted you to be aware we may be making some changes. And by the time we meet in January, it's likely that we'll have implemented some, and I'll be reporting to you on what we did. We may need to make some adjustment in open hours in order to do this, just because we're not going to have that many staff available. Fortunately, we have excellent data on the per hour use of the library from our automated system, and also the door counts that we've been collecting from the greeter. So we'll endeavor to make sure that the impact on patrons is minimal. The day could come when the governor dictates that libraries return to curbside service only, or the town may direct us to do so. But I also have the authority to do that if the conditions in the community mean it's no longer safe for staff or patrons to allow inside access, and we could return to just curbside only. But I don't believe we're there yet. If conditions in the community put the town in the red status for several weeks, I think that would probably be the time to consider that.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to make you aware of what I'm considering. And as I said, there's no final decisions have been made, but we're exploring options. And I'd just be interested to hear your thoughts and any feedback you may have on that.
Does anyone have anything they want to add at this point? I don't see any hands raised. Bill, are you reaching for the unmute button? No. Okay.
Luann, I'd
Okay.
just like to say, I think we've all shown that we have complete faith in Ginny and her decisions for for this. It's just out of her control. It's out of everybody's control. And whatever she decides, we know is going to be the best thing for all the people that work there. And that's all you can ask for, I think.
I agree. Bill.
I did read the article about Yarmouth a couple of days ago, and they're going back to curbside. So I figured we'd have this discussion, and I think Ginny's has the authority. I think we've handled it well, and I just wanted to reiterate that in making your decision, Ginny, the top priority is the safety of the employees.
Mm-hmm. Great. And curbside only went very well. So I don't think we have to fear going back to curbside. I know it's not what we want, but this is the way it is right now. Okay?
It did. We wouldn't be doing inside access now if I didn't think we could do it safely, and I think it has been going well. I do think there are, just seeing the numbers, the increased numbers of patrons that use inside access, there are clearly people not being served in curbside. But if we have to go back to that, then I think, maybe people are more aware now of how they go about requesting books or calling us that, we can get a book bag together for them, and maybe they won't like every selection, but they'll have a few books that they can read. So anyway, but the safety of staff really is the highest priority. And Yarmouth has some different issues somewhat, and it's a very small, older building without a really good HVAC system. And by the way, I should mention that that's why we were closed. We opened late yesterday after a problem with the fire alarm system on Sunday. It's a faulty smoke detector, and that naturally, when the fire alarm goes off, it locks the HVAC system so the air handlers aren't feeding the fire. So that we didn't have ventilation yesterday, and that was really the issue on why we closed. And we still had a good number of people come once we opened at 3, so that was good. But anyway, that's
great. Okay, new business. We all read about, and there was this discussion last month about eliminating the requirement for trustees to sign payroll and invoices. After reading all that, does anyone have anything they want to comment about it? I think that we did yes, Linda. Linda?
I just thought it was clearly put together, and I would support it. It's very clear as to who's supposed to do what and when. So a nice, that was nicely written. So thank you, Jenny. I think it clarifies all of this, and that works.
Mm-hmm. I felt so too, and after last month's meeting, it looked pretty good to me. And now reading this, I think that we might be ready for a vote for it, unless anybody has anything else they want to say. Okay, can I have a motion?
Motion to accept the requirements for the trustees on signing payrolls, invoices, etc., as outlined in the report.
Okay, second.
Second,
Okay, then we'll have a roll call vote. Linda?
Accept.
William Kroll,
Accept.
Joan McCarty,
Accept.
Kathleen Remillard,
Accept.
Bernadette Waystack,
Accept.
Jeannie Wheeler,
accept,
and I, Joanne Brown, vote to accept this. So it was accepted without dissent. All right. Do we have any monetary donations for this month?
We actually do.
Oh,
Yep, we have a $200 donation by Nancy, I may not say this right, Klee, K-L-I-E. And that's a donation to our gift account.
great. Can I have a motion to accept this donation?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the donation.
Okay, Joan, a second.
I second,
Hey, Jeannie, thank you. The roll call vote, Linda Sabula,
Accept.
William Kroll,
Accept.
Joan McCarty,
Accept.
Kathleen Remillard,
Accept.
Bernadette Waystack,
Accept.
Jeannie Wheeler,
accept,
and I, Joanne Brown, vote to accept the motion. That was unanimous. Okay, now on to the preparation of the FY22 budget. Well, this is exciting.
It is. Feels like we're still just finishing the fiscal 21 budget. So as instructed by the selectmen, the town administrator will be presenting a level funded budget to the Board of Selectmen. Some expenses increase every year, so reductions have to be made in other areas to ensure the overall budget is level funded. We had a very compressed time frame to work on the budget before your packets went out. So I've already noticed some minor typos and corrections needed in what I sent to you. So what you have is not the final budget. What I wanted to present to you is overall concepts on how I believe we can accommodate a level funded budget in a way that will have the least impact on our open hours and services to the community. So I'd like to have you take your formal vote on the fiscal 22 budget and your next meeting in January. I'll go over some of my initial budget recommendations. For fiscal 22, there will be no cost of living increases townwide, but employees do step increases on or longevity payments will receive those. That adds just over $7,000 to our salary and wages line. So to keep the salaries level funded, I eliminated the line for summer hire library assistants, which is $6,545. It's 36 hours a week for 9 weeks, and reduced our substitute line a small amount of $547. Absorbing this reduction in this manner will protect the hours of our permanent, full-time, and part-time Howard Employees Association employees. And without this summer help, though, we may need to reduce our open hours next summer. There's a good chance, however, that we may not be back to normal operations next summer. So if that's the case, then this reduction won't have much impact. It definitely won't impact our open hours. But if we are able to resume normal operations next summer, this reduction will have an impact. We would need to reduce our open hours for the summer, but I think that is doable and probably the most palatable way to implement this level funding. We would be able to resume our normal pre-COVID schedule of 6 days, 48 hours per week for the remainder of the fiscal year. So it seems the best option for absorbing this reduction that would have the least impact on year-round residents. For future years, I would hope we could get that money back and not have to reduce our hours in the summer. For the expense budget, that's also level funded. Some lines are up slightly, some are down slightly, just based on actual expenses last year and year to date this year. We made some significant reductions in both electric and gas for fiscal 21 based on savings from 2 energy efficiency projects, but it's too early to know if those lines can be further reduced, so I didn't make any additional reduction in those lines. To keep the overall expense budget level, I had to reduce dues, subscription, and travel line by $327 through some small reductions in mileage and workshop categories. But the one area of concern with our level funded budget is that the town still needs to meet the municipal appropriation requirement, which is known as the MAR, to maintain state library certification. The MAR requires the town appropriate, to increase the appropriation by 2.5% over the average of the last 3 years appropriation. So it's much too early to know if the Mass Board of Library Commissioners will reduce certification standards for fiscal 22, or if they'll expand the number of waivers available for the MAR, or what conditions they might set to qualify for those waivers. So to be safe, we should proceed as if the normal certification standards will be in place. For Brooks to meet the MAR by itself, our budget would need to increase by just over $23,000, which is a 2.3% increase. However, if the traditional petition article for $20,000 for Howardsport and Chase Library passes at town meeting, then the Brooks Free Library budget would only need to increase $3,400, which is 0.34%, to meet the MAR. So I'm hopeful we'll be able to at least get that much of an increase, if possible. The town officials would need to be aware that if the article does not pass, or if the funding for Howardsport and Chase Library is reduced, then the town wouldn't meet the certification standards. And I've spoken to the town administrator about this at our department head meetings, and he understands the importance of state certification. So I'm hopeful that if possible, he will present a budget to the selectmen that enables the town to meet the MAR. So what happens now is department heads have to enter their budgets into Munis by the end of the week. The town administrator and the finance director will hold online meetings with the departments. That's normally the chair of the trustees, myself, and the assistant director that attend that. Departments will have the opportunity to object to any budget cuts or make the case for any increases prior to the town administrator presenting his budget to the selectmen in February. But the selectmen do not plan on holding the traditional all-day joint budget hearings with the finance committee this year. They're really planning to rely on the town administrator's budget. And I have not heard anything about what the finance committee is planning to do. They may decide to have their own, but I'm not sure. So that is my budget update.
Well, that sounds pretty thorough. Okay, the next item is the capital plan submission.
So it's on the agenda in case we heard anything, but they actually are.
We've lost you.
I think that was a placeholder on the agenda. There's been no changes to the capital plan. I was told to submit, where you voted a few meetings ago to push our interior reconfiguration project back some. I was told to wait and submit that at the time that the budget submitted, so I will do that.
Okay. Okay. Now there's on the agenda is staff appreciation discussion. Now, Jeannie wants to talk about this.
Okay, so in the past, we've always done something as a trustee 1 week in December. Obviously, this year with COVID, we can't do what we normally do. So the response has been pretty much doing the library mugs to each of the staff filled with some sort of maybe Lindt chocolate that's individually wrapped, and then perhaps putting ornaments in each of the bags. So I'm throwing that out to you all to see what you think about that. Obviously, we can't do the food and the pizza that we normally do. Any comments? Any suggestions?
I think it's a great idea, Jeannie, because, you know, we talked before and I asked about having sandwiches. If we can't do it, we can't do it. And maybe, you know, once this whole thing is eased up a little bit, we can do something then.
Right.
Oh, Linda, I don't think you're aware of what we've done in the past.
Yeah, I do know.
Okay.
I liaised with this group for many years.
Well, I couldn't remember how long we'd been doing this.
A
And I'm
while.
aware of it.
Yeah.
Good.
And it's always been a feel-good thing for all of us. And the staff
Yes.
seem to appreciate it, but
Right.
we just don't see that we can go on with it in this form this year.
Right. So, and we still want to do something to thank the staff. So this seems to be the best way. So I can put the stuff together and just deliver it like the 15th of December or something. Does that work with you guys?
Absolutely. If you need a hand, if you need me to do anything, you just tell me, Jeannie. I'll be glad to.
Thank you. Okay. Sounds good.
Bill,
Bill?
you have something to say?
Who's paying for it?
Well,
In the past, I think each one of us has done some, you know,
Jeannie's doing it. I don't think Jeannie should pay for it all.
no. And Jenny has the mugs left over from a year or so ago.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
So-
then I just, or either I can pick up all the ornaments or each of you can pick up 2 like ornaments, snowflake, whatever, and drop it off at my house and I can assemble everything. Whichever is easier for everyone.
Logistically, I think that might be awkward. And I think can we take it out of gift account? Jeannie? Okay, so
That, I'll just pick it all up and then it's all, you know, in one place.
I think that's a good idea.
Thank you, Jeannie.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Thank
Linda.
you.
Linda,
Gift account? Why don't we all just pony up $10 or something, or $20 and just do it, as opposed to take resources that people have gifted to the library to buy books
okay.
and videos and la la la.
Perfect.
Okay.
I guess I would feel better about that than, even if it's a small amount, but it's still, people gift
Mhm.
because it's going to the library for product.
Well, I don't think in the past we all did our own thing and we weren't reimbursed for it. But I agree in this case that'd be a good idea. So if we
Jeannie,
could,
here's my 10, Jenny.
Right?
Okay, you got it.
Oh, I missed it.
And you gotta
You
scan it and email it.
Just let us know. Yeah. Let us know.
we'll send you.
We're
a
gonna
check.
get it to you.
All right, we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Okay. Holiday wreaths.
Okay, so on holiday wreaths, I spoke with Barbara Olberg today at the Garden Club, thanked her very much for everything the Garden Club does, and she was so appreciative. And then I asked her about the wreaths, and if they weren't done today, they're going to be done tomorrow. She said all the municipal buildings are going to be done with fresh wreaths, etc.
Fresh
So,
wreath.
yes, fresh ones. So it's not as many wreaths as we would have liked, but I think if we plan ahead, maybe next September or October, then we can go out and we can get more wreaths for the front and the side of the building. And with COVID, just, graciously accept whatever the garden club is going to provide this year.
And Ginny,
Yes, Jeannie, they did bring the wreaths today. There are, the 2 front doors and the 2 parking lot side doors. So
Okay.
they're great. They usually do a beautiful job.
Good.
so Jeannie and I had been talking about this, and we had thought we wanted to have many more wreaths, but then as both of us were looking at it, it's kind of hard to figure out exactly where do you put them on the 2 floors? Or do you put them on? What's the best distribution for the best effect? And Bernadette, you might have an idea about this.
Yeah, I haven't thought about it. I guess it's sort of, you probably want to either do the front facade, top and bottom, or
And
you do them all, I think. I don't know if it has the same impact if you just do the first floor all around. Yeah, but I don't think we're doing it this year anyway, right? I mean, I think it's wonderful. We're lucky we literally have the doors open for people to come and go into them, and it's nice that we have them up for Christmas too.
Right.
But in the future, yeah, it would be nice to go big. We wouldn't need really huge ones, but we'd probably just want to do either the whole Main Street front facade, even though most people, I think, come in the back.
I know.
I think it's the effect as you come down Oak Street or coming
Yeah.
by. Yeah.
Really, that's
Absolutely.
and the side on Bank Street is so beautiful. I'd like to have it there too through the
Yeah.
day. At night,
Well,
I think
Jeannie, go out and get a bunch of wreaths, and we'll all give you $10 more.
Give me 10 fingers to get up on the
I
second.
know.
floor.
Yeah.
this is just it. When we started looking at it, we're looking at 20 wreaths, and then we do the side. Oh, do we do the portico over the front door? Where does it stop? So, and obviously it needs to be thought of in September or October.
And one of the classes at Monomoy High does a wreath sale every year. They had 11 left over, but then they sold out of them. So we can put our order in with them and get it from
Wonderful.
them next year.
That's
Benefit.
Great.
That would be great.
That would be good.
Okay. So we'll try to remember to do that in September.
As soon as they start hitting us up, I'll remember to tell them
Right.
and find out for you.
Okay. That sounds great. Okay. We really almost finished here. As we put this on the agenda a few years ago, trustee reports and requests for next meeting's agenda, because there didn't seem to be a spot in the meeting where you could bring up something that's been troubling you or requests for the next meeting's agenda. So I'd like to poll all of you and see if you have something that you'd like to talk about. Bernadette.
No, I'm good. I just, Ginny, I still have those things called checks, and I can mail you one of those, Jeannie, or I can Venmo you if you have Venmo for the contributions. No, I'm good. Thanks.
Okay, Bill.
Nothing.
That's fine.
I'm very pleased, very satisfied.
Okay, Jeannie.
Nope. I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, Kathleen.
Nope, I think we don't have anything to discuss because Ginny and Emily are doing such a great job.
Absolutely.
You're saying ditto?
Yes, ditto.
Okay. Linda, do you have anything else you want to bring up?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Okay. Then the upcoming meetings, we've got the meeting with the selectmen. And if anybody wants to attend, because they don't have enough things to do. Otherwise, Ginny will be there and I'll be there holding her hand virtually. Okay?
Don't you
Next,
always go to that?
oh, don't you want to? Well, we'll make sure you
No,
have
I
the
don't
link.
particularly want to, but it always was having the show of people from the library interested in what they're doing.
Yes, well, it's going to be remote, just like this. So let's send it to everybody in case they want to just put their 2 cents in. Our next meeting is January 6th. And so we have meetings January 6th, 2021. Speaking of checks, that's the hardest thing to do. February 3rd and March 3rd. Okay, and also there was a note, the selectmen's budget schedule does not include the usual meeting with the Board of Selectmen or the FinCom. May I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion.
Joan's lifting 2 arms.
Yes.
A second?
Second,
Okay. Roll call. Bernadette Waystack.
Oh, I wasn't ready because I'm at the other end of the alphabet.
I know, but I decided to mix it up.
the big
So I
decision.
had to unmute, sorry. I approve.
You approved, you vote to adjourn.
I vote to
Okay.
adjourn, yes.
Bill?
Whatever you say, you're there.
Yeah. Bill, do you vote to adjourn?
Absolutely.
Jeannie Wheeler?
I do.
Joan McCarty?
Absolutely.
Kathleen Remillard?
Yes.
And Linda Sabula?
Yes.
And I, Joanne Brown, vote to adjourn, so it's unanimous. Goodbye. Can't wait to see you, all of you, in person sometime.
That's the way I feel, Joanne.
Yeah, this is
Have a
just.
good holiday.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Take care.
Joanne,